Hey, beloved, it's good to see you again, or I guess you see me, right? So I'm back again to talk about what makes you lovable from a personality perspective. Because at Coffee Chats and Yoga Mats, we're all about living intentionally with passion and purpose as God's beloved. And a big piece of that is embracing that God given personality that He's equipped you with. And just as a quick little reminder, you are made in His image. I know when I was a little girl, I was, well, let's be real, until I was in college, I was super confused about that concept because I was like, God doesn't look like me. But really, when you drill down that idea of like, you are made in His image, you reflect an aspect of Him. It may not be verbatim in the mirror because, we got flaws, but you're made in His image. So that also means your personality reflects a piece of that. So today I thought we'd talk about what is extroversion and introversion, because there's a lot of misconceptions about it, and what does that actually mean for you? Because I'm hoping you'll get another takeaway about what it means to be you and what makes you lovable. Because we're coming at it from a Myers-Briggs typology indicator perspective. So the MBTI, if you've taken the online quizzes before, you can't fail a personality test, then you may have learned a little bit about it. One of the things that I think can make it really confusing for people when you're thinking about extroversion and introversion is you're all like the perception you're completely one or the other, and that's not true. Often you're actually on a spectrum. And it may depend on your setting, it may depend on your environment, and then there's like the whole cognitive functions pieces. We'll talk about that another day. That's way too much for today. But just be aware. Likely you are not totally extroverted or totally introverted because that's not really how it works. And how often have you heard things like, sometimes I'm really extroverted and sometimes I kind of just want to stay home, so I'm introverted? That's not how it works. Or look at her, she's so extroverted. Look at her, that's how she talks with everyone. Or he's shy, he's introverted. It drives me crazy because that's not how it works. Contrary to popular belief, having introverted preferences doesn't mean you're inherently shy or don't like being around people. Neither does it mean that if you have extroverted preference, you're super outgoing or the life of the party. And really, that's an incredibly limiting perspective on personalities and what it means to be you and for them to be them. So I'm going to do the nutshell version, and then we're going to hop on over and I'll share some bullet points from MBTI because I am certified and I'm very biased. It's a wonderful system about nutshell, what it looks like to be introverted or extroverted, and then kind of some ways you can look at it. So introversion and extroversion really refer to which world you tend to gravitate toward. So you might gravitate toward the inner world, so introversion, or you may gravitate toward the outer world. And let's break it down a bit further because that can be a little confusing, right? For introverts, the inner world, the world inside them, is the real world, the world that really matters. It doesn't mean they don't go about the world noticing what's around them. It does mean they tend to check in with themselves first before absorbing everything around them. For extroverts, the external world, the world around them, is more so the world they live in. And that's kind of like, I know, again, it's a little esoteric, but a way to think about it, introverts tend to check in with themselves first before they speak or take action. Like they tend to check, like, does this make sense to me? How do I feel about that? And that also depends on your thinking and feeling. Extroverts tend to speak or act first. They tend to do better when they put it outside themselves to clarify what they should do. So for them, that may be a lot of talking with someone else and maybe actually getting out in the world, let's say going for a jog or something to help work out things. An introvert is probably going to need some more time for some self-reflection. We all need self-reflection, but their different needs for it may vary. So hopefully that gives a little bit of sense. We're going to go and pop on over. I'll add the link to the MBTI website so you can get some more information, but I'm going to break it down a little bit. So extroversion, the way that MBTI describes it, I think they are on point, is I like getting energy from active involvement in events and having a lot of different activities. If you tend to be more of the extroversion, just note that. Or just pay attention and see what stands out to you. I'm excited when I'm around people and I like to energize other people. I like moving into action and making things happen. I genuinely feel at home in the world. I often understand a problem better when I talk out loud about it and hear what others have to say. So a few other things that might apply to you if you lean with extroversion. I'm seen as outgoing or a people person. I feel comfortable in groups and like working with them. I have a wide range of friends and know lots of people. I sometimes jump too quickly into an activity and don't allow enough time to think it over. And before I start a project, I sometimes forget to stop and get clear on what I want to do and why. They tend to be movers and shakers. If you tend to lead with introversion, again, it's a spectrum. I like getting energy from dealing with ideas, pictures, memories, and reactions are inside my head in my inner world. I also prefer to do things that are alone or with one or two people. That's over groups. I feel comfortable with. I kept rambling. I take time to reflect so that I have a clear idea of what I'll be doing when I decide to act. Ideas are almost solid things for me because they're percolating on it before they move forward and take action. Sometimes I like the idea of something better than the real thing. Let's be real, that can apply to all of humanity. So, a few more things that might apply to you if you tend to lead with introversion. I'm seen as reflective or reserved. I feel comfortable being alone and like things I can do on my own. I prefer to know just a few people well. I sometimes spend too much time reflecting and don't move into action quickly enough. And I sometimes forget to check with the outside world to see if my ideas really fit the experience. So it's a lot to take in, and I know I'll go and pop the link for the MBTI descriptions in the comment, and then I'll also pop in a link to a post where I talk about this a bit more. But a big thing I want you to think about when it comes to introversion and extroversion is no matter where you tend to fall on the spectrum, you reflect a quality of God. You were designed this way on purpose. We're not intended to use it as a weapon to say, well, I'm just an extrovert. I'm going to, always move fast. I'm just an introvert. I'm not going to move forward. That's not how it works. Just something to tune into is be aware you're made this way on purpose. So how can you leverage that? If you're someone who leads with introversion, you're awesome. We need introverts in this world to process, to think things through before they jump in, to facilitate those deeper relationships and to encourage others to have the healthy one-on-one or just solo time. We all need that time. The degree which you might need it varies. We need extroverts. You're also awesome and in a different way. You reflect energy. You get things moving. You help others put out ideas and process. There's so much that each perspective offers. So just something to keep in mind that no matter where you fall on the introversion, extroversion spectrum, and we can talk about that more another time about it might be different in different environments, you are utterly and deeply loved by the God of the universe. He created you to reflect his image. And I know sometimes you don't feel like it, and I totally get it. I live there too at times, but you are his beloved, and you're wired this way on a purpose. So I do encourage you, think about where you might tend to live more, outer world, inner world, and consider how can you lean into that more? How can you embrace that about yourself versus beating yourself up for being someone that you're not and someone you weren't ever intended to be. So I'll be back again next week because I thought we'd go through the 4 different preference pairs. I guess we could say that. And we might even pop in some yoga. We'll see how we're doing. But in the meantime, thank you so much for joining me. And as always, you can live intentionally with passion and purpose as God's beloved because you are his beloved. See you later.